Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. With I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. This is going to be the first in a series of bracketology videos, college basketball, as we approach March Madness. I'm thinking maybe doing this about once a week, and then in the real heyday, maybe I'll do it multiple times. I don't know, multiple times a week. I don't know. It feels like doing it on either Sunday or Monday makes sense after the big Saturday slate of games and things change. I don't know how interesting this is going to be at all. I've been putting out my own bracketology for a while. I just do it in a spreadsheet, and I've been like tweeting it out usually, and maybe I'll just put it out on this show instead. But it's super autism. There are no bets on the show. Just gonna go over what I think the bracket landscape is right now. And what I try to do with mine is I try to predict what the committee is going to do as far as who they're going to put in based on the results that we have right now. But for the at-large bids from all the small conferences, I'm actually trying to predict who's going to win the conference. Unlike guys like Joe Lunardi, who don't put that much effort into it. I'm throwing shade. He will just take whoever's winning the conference currently. Like, it's so lazy, to be honest. Oh, yeah. The conference play just started. Oh, this team's 2-0 in the conference. They're going to win the conference. Yeah, okay. Even if they're not the best team, no. So I'm going to go over what I think at the moment here. And, of course, things could change, especially the things, basically, like the bubble stuff is going to change quite a bit probably. Jeffrey, what's up? Charles, what's up? Oh, God. We're starting towers in here. Dirty Sock, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right, so the way that I do this, I put together this stupid spreadsheet here, which I'm assuming you guys can see this. I mean, there's no slow reveal or anything like this. Maybe I'm lazy, but this is how I do it, because I know Lunardi fills out the entire bracket, and I just think it's pointless to have all these hypothetical matchups that just aren't really going to happen. I'm just like, these are what the seeds are going to be, I think, right now. This is who's going to get in as of right now, in my opinion. And then you could also take this and compare it with what Lunardi has out there right now. I don't even know, honestly, how close I am to him. I didn't even look at his, so I don't know. I'm assuming we're probably not horribly far off, but my at-large bids are going to be different, though, probably. Or, sorry, I keep saying at-large. Auto bids. Why do I keep saying at-large? The auto bids from the conference winners is what I mean. And yeah, that's about it. I was going to compare it to, I was going to bring up Jerry Palm and compare to him as well on CBS, but it looks like he hasn't started doing his this year, so I don't know why that is. I thought he released it on about the same schedule as Lunardi, but I guess not. Tyson, what's up, man? Dirty Sock. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Let's have some huge wins. Yeah. The NFL bracket, I will do that at some point. I'm probably going to do a show with Clint to do predictions as well, though I might do my own bracket first, and then I'm going to bring Clint on maybe and talk about it on another show. I don't know how I want to do it yet, but we'll figure that out. The NFL bracket, dude, I don't even, like, I looked at what would happen with the NFL bracket based on who's picking whom right now to be like the champion and based on what their odds are, and I don't like the results that I came up with. I'm like, how can I possibly pick this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Maybe it'll maybe it'll change. I think I jumped the gun a little bit on the college one because I did it like as soon as the bracket came out. But I think you want to let the people do what they want to do. You know what I mean? You got to let it kind of, you got to let it gel, or you got to let it marinate on ESPN for a little while. You know what I mean? Because when I showed you guys the college football one, like Georgia was like seriously overpicked, and they still wound up being overpicked, but Ohio State actually jumped them as being the most popular champion pick. So it actually wound up being Ohio State, Georgia, then I guess Indiana, whereas I think when I did the show, it was Georgia, then Ohio State, then Indiana. So I was using percentages that hadn't fully fleshed out yet. You know what I mean? So it makes sense to do it actually closer to when it starts. And that's what I did with the tournament bracket last year for March Madness. I did it like the Wednesday night, which is really, really crunch time, but whatever. It's when you have the best numbers, I think. Do one with Cole, and well, I'd have to figure out a name for that series. It can't be bald because he's not bald. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Cole actually, yeah, I mean, he is a football fan. Of course, his team is in the playoffs. He is a Broncos fan, so his team is in the playoffs. My team, being the Colts, is not. Maybe should I latch onto the Patriots again and root for them? I don't think the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl, as they're just they're too new, man. They're too fresh. All right, but this is college basketball. Yeah, so I will do the NFL one eventually. The NFL, we have the whole week to do it, man. So I'm going to wait a little while at least. Super Bowl block pool, what does that entail? How does that pool work? Is it like props? Like what are we talking about? Oh, by the way, I did wind up in the money in the like super contest equivalent that I was in, although it was just one on Splash Sports. It was like I think it was a $100 entry. I wound up winning like $900. I mean, I wish it was more. The top prize was like $20K, so I'm kind of pissed about that. I think it was like I don't know what the total prize pool was, probably $25K, because I was close to the top, dude. I was like 4 picks off of the leader or something like that. I went 4-1 this week, as you guys might know, because 3 of my picks won. But when you get down to week 18, it becomes a thing where it's like, do you want to go with your picks, or do you want to pick like picks that have like a ton of numeric value? Because we had like, in that game, we had Minnesota -7.5. We had Rams -7.5, and they were like 14 when the game went off, 14, 13, whatever. So there was huge value on those. So I don't know. You have some credit on Splash. It's pretty easy to use. I mean, you have to be in a gambling state, although I know you are. So yeah, I mean, try it out. Why not? Especially, yeah, if they're giving you credits, why not? Jump into some of those. I'm just doing the like, I've been in like the pick'em pools and survivor pools on there and stuff like that. I haven't done any of the fantasy stuff, although I would imagine like daily fantasy, it might be easier to win as like a grinder, just because pretty much in those types of sites, you just have to be better than the people that you're playing against. You know what I mean? Which also is the case with these pools. So in a way, you have a better chance to win money in pools like the one that I was in there than actually betting, because you're not directly going up against the house. You know what I mean? Like of course the site is going to like take a rake. Like they're going to take some of the money out of the pool for themselves, because that's how they make money. But if you're better than the majority of the pool that you're in to such an extent, like you should wind up in the money. It's kind of like playing poker, you know, where like the top 10% get paid. So you're not having to go directly up against the house. But in this case, it was a season-long grind just to get $900 out of it. So as I spill my water, that's great. Actually, I think it's empty. Whatever. All right. My microplastics in my balls. It's pure luck. Oh, yeah. It's squares. Yeah. We call that squares, right? So you randomly get 2 numbers. What numbers did you get, Jeffrey? Do you not know yet? So, yeah, and you win something if the score at the end of each quarter matches your two squares. The last digit of each score has to match, right? So if you get 0, 7, 3, 4, like those are the most desired numbers. 1 is okay, you know what I mean? Yeah, those are the ones that you want to get. Like if you get like 6, well, not 6, 6 is all right. 5 is pretty bad on it. It's been a while since I've done squares. 5, I think, might be the worst. Yeah, so you want to try to avoid numbers like that. 2 probably is not good. Yeah. Yeah, I think the last time I did squares, I think I did win something. I think it was like an office squares thing. I think I won a couple years ago. All right, bracketology, that's why we're here, right? So, I mean, there's no real surprise here that I'm going to have the number 1 seeds that I have right now are really the top 2 are like completely obvious right now, and I'm not sure that these are going to change throughout the rest of the season, although we have all of conference play to see what happens. But I have Michigan as the number 1 overall seed. They've just been absolutely annihilating everybody. It just seems pretty obvious that that's what's going to happen if the committee were to seed everything right now. I mean, they've been the best team. I think Ken Baum actually even has them number 1 in his rankings as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I have Arizona as number 2. I mean, Arizona has been very dominant as well and has beaten some like top tier teams. So I have them there. And then the next few, I think it could be kind of a question as to what you want to do with these. I put Iowa State in the number 3 spot as the 3rd number 1 seed right now, mostly because they had that absolute destruction of Purdue at Purdue. I think they're going to get a lot of credit for that win. That was a really good win. Although you can't base everything off of one win, but I'm pretty sure Iowa State might still be undefeated right now too, if I'm not mistaken. So I have them up there as well. And then the 4th number 1 seed is the one that was obviously the most in question, and there's probably going to be some debate about it, but I put UConn there. And also, I think UConn, they're probably going to win the Big East. But then it depends. Like, if Duke wins the ACC, maybe they'll wind up jumping them and getting more credit for winning the ACC, because the ACC looks more competitive than the Big East right now, to be honest. But Connecticut, I mean, they are Connecticut. They're back amongst the top teams in all of basketball, so I do have them as a 1 seed right now. Arcade, what's up, man? Yeah, UConn Cornelius. They should have a guy named Cornelius on their team. JC, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Oh, thank you, sir. JC, you're everywhere, man. Yeah, that was a fun episode. I always have fun on these shows, man. Yes. What's up, guys? The number 2 seeds, of course, I do have Duke at the top of the number 2 seeds. They're going to be one of the top seeds. I don't see that really changing. Oh, and of course, as you can see, I asterisk these, meaning that I have them as also the winner of their conference right now. But of course, we know that chaos ensues in these larger conferences, and sometimes the teams that are at the top already are like guaranteed one of the top seeds, and they don't need to win their conference or whatever. But I have Michigan winning the Big Ten. I have Arizona winning the Big 12. UConn winning the Big East right now. I mean, just because I have them as the top team, but I think right now they probably do have the best odds to win. I should use DraftKings, man. I should use the conference odds, but I haven't done that. I've basically just used power ratings to kind of figure out who do I think is going to win these conferences right now. I have Duke winning the ACC, of course, and getting into that first number 2 spot. I got Purdue up there as well as the second non-conference winner up here, because Iowa State is already in there as well. Purdue is going to, there are a lot of, this year doesn't seem like it's as top heavy as like last year. Like last year, it was like almost obvious that the top 4 teams there was kind of a gap between those teams and the other teams. This year, it doesn't seem that way, because Purdue, like, they could be amongst these teams pretty easily. They have a lot of experience, great guard play. So they're going to be up there. And then I have Gonzaga also on the 2 line, obviously winning the WCC, which I think is less in question this year than it has been in years past. Although one conference tournament game can knock you out of the conference tournament, but they're going to get in anyway. They're going to be one of the higher seeds for sure, unless something crazy happens. And then the real shocker here is Vanderbilt, coming from out of nowhere, currently being the best team in the SEC, and I believe they're still undefeated. The SEC looks like they might be taking a step down a bit this year, and I have Vandy, the last on the 2 line and the winner of the SEC right now. The 3 seeds right now have Michigan State. They're going to be in the mix as well. You know they're going to get a high seed. They're Michigan State. They're Tom Izzo. I don't think they're going to really go anywhere. But, of course, again, this is all based on what we have right now. I mean, of course, as the weeks go on, you could see things really change. Like, the most dramatic changes that I've had from, like, early January all the way to tournament time, like, I have probably had teams in a 3 or 4 seed, maybe even slip completely out of the bracket, although it's very unlikely. I have Houston on the 3 line as well. I mean, they're still a very good program. They're still up there. BYU, and then Nebraska. I know I don't want to know what's going on with my Nebraska. Probably it's already over. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I'm going to look later. I can't stomach it, man. I don't know with the college basketball play I had tonight, but Nebraska, as of right now, coming into tonight, they were undefeated. So this bracketology is as of coming into today. So, but if they take a loss, it's not going to knock them down that much either. Nebraska's been very surprising, and I believe Nebraska has never won a tournament game. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know they were in the tournament a couple of times, I believe, over the last like decade or so, but maybe they never actually won that first game. That's crazy. It's crazy to see them as a 3 seed. Number 4, on the 4 line, I mean, it's really all the usual suspects just showing up here. Illinois. I think Illinois is actually better than this, though. If they land on the 4 line, they're going to be a pretty underseeded team, I would say. Alabama, not as much. Alabama, they're going to be somewhere in this range probably, and probably about where they should be, because I think they are a little bit down this year. Kansas is on the way back up after they had their lowest seed that I can ever remember as a 7 seed last year. They're usually amongst the top 4 seeds or close to it. I do have them on the 4 line. And North Carolina making their way back up. These blue bloods that were down recently coming back up, especially North Carolina, I think missed out on the tournament 2 years ago, if I remember that correctly. And last year almost did. And people said they shouldn't be in, but then they smacked San Diego State in the play-in game and got in, whatever. 5 line, we got Louisville, who's still just there in the mix in the ACC, man. I mean, they have the opportunity to move up as well. Tennessee looking like they're maybe taking a little bit of a step down this year as well, but I think they might be a little bit underrated right now, too. They're a good defensive team, and the style of play just gets, like, the rankings makers and the public just don't love a team that plays that style, like slow, defensive-minded. But, of course, I'm pretty sure Tennessee is still Rick Barnes coaching them, right? So they're going to get into the tournament and then just lose again, which I believe he's never coached a team to a Final Four, if I'm not mistaken, or at least not for the last, like, decade or so. I've got Texas Tech on the 5 line. They're solid. I think they have been dealing with some injuries. We'll see what happens with them. Arkansas also on the 5 line with John Calipari building up the program there. On the 6 line, I have Florida. Although I think Florida actually might move up because they've had a really difficult schedule so far, and I'm not sure they're quite as bad as this, although I told you guys that Missouri was going to cover against Florida. They didn't have that strong of a conviction on it, but they beat Florida outright. So Florida having some struggles. They've rebuilt. I mean, they lost most of their best players from last year, so still difficult to gauge who this Florida team really is. They're definitely a step down from last year at the very least, though. I've got USC on the 6 line as well. Virginia moving back up, as Virginia, I think, has missed the tournament. They missed the tournament last year, and I think they had an embarrassing loss in the play-in the year before that. So Virginia on the way back up. I have them on the 6 line. I've got the newly formed Ben McCollum, however you pronounce his name, McCollum, whatever, Iowa team. The new slow-paced Iowa team, I got them on the 6 line right now. I have Kentucky falling all the way down to the 7. I mean, they have room to improve as well. I don't understand what's going on with Kentucky, really, or why they've been struggling as much as they have with Mark Pope there. I don't know. Probably has to do with them not being good enough defensively, although I thought this year they seem to have gotten off on the right foot and been better defensively, but I don't know. I have them on the 7 right now. I have Villanova on the 7 as well, as they're a program that's kind of on the rise again. St. John's on the 7 line. If St. John's winds up on the 7 line, I think they're quite underseeded, to be honest. I don't think they're significantly worse than they were last year. They were really, really good, and they kind of overperformed and had very few losses. This year, they already have more losses than they did all of last year, and I think St. John's is kind of being overlooked for that reason, but I don't think they're that bad, even after that awful loss to Providence the other day. I do have Utah State as the winner of the Mountain West, and actually, I think I have them as the only Mountain West team in right now, which is really crazy. Like, is the Mountain West really this down? Like, over the past few years, the Mountain West has gotten like 3-4 teams in. And I think if Utah State does not win the Mountain West, you would have a bid steal if they don't win the Mountain West championship. I think their resume, well, we'll see what happens as the year progresses, but I think they're going to have a good enough resume to be in as an at-large. So you might get 2 Mountain West teams in this year. Really, really crazy if we don't get more than that, though. Even though the Mountain West tends to not perform well in the tournament, except for that run by San Diego State that one year. But I have Utah State as the best team in the Mountain West, have them winning it. I've got St. Mary's starting out the 8 line. They're going to get in, most likely. They pretty much always get in. Them and Gonzaga. One of them is going to win the West Coast Conference again, most likely, although there could be a bid steal in the West Coast. A couple other teams like Santa Clara in that conference could do something and maybe surprise somebody, but Gonzaga is just such a powerhouse. I don't know how a team is going to get by them, to be honest, especially with the way their tournament is structured. In the West Coast Conference, they have like a triple bye. So Gonzaga, like, they don't even enter the tournament until the semifinals, so they only have to win 2 games. I have Auburn falling quite a bit from last year under Bruce Pearl's son now, Stephen Pearl, I believe is his name. Auburn, they're kind of an enigma right now, though. I mean, I think they have a wide variety of possible outcomes. I have them on the 8 line here. Clemson also on the 8 line, seeming like they're on the way down a little bit. In Georgia, even though they seem to be on the rise a little bit, I know they were on the 8 or 9 line. I think they were on the 9 line last year. I still have them in the 8. On the 9 line, I've got SMU, Seton Hall, LSU, and UCLA. And, I mean, this is just like we're getting into almost bubble territory now, where it's like some of these teams by the end of the season could play their way out of the tournament, right? These are teams that have to play well to remain in the tournament picture. They could play themselves out of it. And we're looking at teams like LSU, who have been way down for a while now, like coming back from out of nowhere. Don't know if they're really legit or not. Seton Hall, again, coming from the dead, basically, and looking pretty good in the Big East right now, but who knows how good they really are. As conference play progresses, maybe they'll start looking bad. SMU also kind of in that same vein as well. Like, we haven't seen them for a while either. Don't know if they're for real or not. UCLA probably is for real, plus they're UCLA, so just based on name alone, they usually get a little bit of a bump up as far as making the tournament. I'm assuming they'll likely make it. On the 10 line, I've got NC State, who they were ranked earlier this year, man. I think NC State, if they're a 10 seed, they're going to be a really underseeded team, I would say. Like, I think they should be in the tournament. We may see them move up. Baylor, who basically is always in the tournament, but the last few years have kind of been one of those last several teams in, and they might be they might be on the way to that type of thing again. I've got UCF on the 10 line. They've come from out of nowhere and put up a really good record to start the season, but who knows? Like, again, this out-of-conference play, we just don't really know how good these teams really are. And then conference play, we'll see what these teams are really made of. I do have St. Louis winning the Atlantic 10 and landing on the 10 line as well. And I think as of right now, they're probably the only Atlantic 10 team that has an at-large case if they don't win the A10. So I think there could be a bid steal as it stands right now if they don't win the A10 conference tournament. I think they would still get in because they are quite good. We'll have to see what they do in conference play, though. But some other team might get an at-large. I said there might be a case for VCU to get an at-large, but as I looked at the picture, I don't even have VCU in the picture, man. So it's going to be difficult for VCU. So we'll see. And then I have Miami as the last team into the round of 64. Miami, Florida, on the way back up. They've been fairly impressive this year, man. So I think probably deserving as of right now. Then we have the last 4 teams in that wind up in the play-in tournament. I have Ohio State there. Ohio State, a bubble team yet again, the bubble boy. And I have Butler also in the mix as one of these last teams in, one of the play-ins here. They've looked decent to start the season. They're going to have to continue to do that. Butler, I think we haven't really seen them get into the tournament for a while now, so they'd be back into the tournament picture if that's the case. I think Ohio State has missed out the last couple of years too. I've got Indiana in the play-in scenario as well, which I forget when the last time we saw Indiana. Indiana's kind of, I don't know what's going on with that program, man. They've kind of been one of these tournament bubble teams for quite a while. And I think they missed entirely last year, so we'll see. And then I have Oklahoma State as the last team in, but really I just think they're phony. Like, I think Oklahoma State's going to wind up not getting in. They're going to have to get through this Big 12 that's still pretty much a gauntlet. I just am not sure how they're going to hold up, even though their record looks really good right now. And I'm pretty sure they would be in based on, like, the bracketology as of now, but for them, I think they're not going to make the tournament. So maybe I should do more future prediction here. But like I said, what I do here is I do like all the team, like all the at-large bids, basically. I do as of right now, what would the picture be? But then I try to predict the conference winners just because I can't just say, oh, this team is currently winning the conference because they're 2-0 in conference. You know what I mean? I can't really say that. So as far as the rest of the field here, these are all the automatic qualifiers from the conferences. I have Tulsa winning the American right now. It's going to be, right now it looks like it's basically between Tulsa and Memphis, but this conference is not that good, man. Like, whichever of those teams gets in, I don't think they're going to really do that well in the tournament. I just don't really see it. So I do have Tulsa there for now. We'll see what happens. It seems like it's always Memphis, though. And Memphis always gets into the tournament and then just loses. So I don't know. That American Conference, man, they're down. America East, I've got Vermont winning it right now. Really, this conference is just awful. I mean, Vermont wins it almost every year. They didn't win it last year. But this is really just by virtue of the rest of this conference being so horrendously bad that I think Vermont probably is going to actually win this conference quite easily. The rest of the conference is abysmal, and I actually have Vermont as a 16 seed in the play-ins. That's how bad that conference is, unfortunately for them. In the A-Sun, I have our pals at Lipscomb getting in from the A-Sun right now and grabbing a 15 seed, I guess. So I have them fairly far down. I have Tulsa on the 12 line, by the way. So they're not as horrendous as you would think based on my shitting on the American, but still, that American Conference, they used to put some teams in that were like legitimate, like teams that were legitimately competitive, and I'm just not sure that that's the case this year. But yes, Lipscomb, this A-Sun Conference, they're a bit down. Right now, I think it's going to be between Lipscomb and, wait, who else is in the A-Sun? I don't even remember. Well, Ken Baum can tell us that. Hang on. Lipscomb in the A-Sun, and then there was like one other team where I was like, it could be them. Austin P has been okay, and then I guess maybe it was Austin P that I was thinking of. I don't really, I mean, these teams are, because Austin, wait, where are we looking at here? Yeah, Austin P is ranked 199th in Ken Baum. Oh, Florida Gulf Coast is actually ranked higher than that. So I guess maybe one of those. Yeah, I guess actually I was thinking of Florida Gulf Coast. So whatever, but it seems like it'll be Lipscomb for now. Big Sky, we got our guys that treated us well the other night in Montana State. I have them getting in from the Big 12 as of right now. Even though I've been saying Northern Colorado is the best team in the Big Sky, Montana State, I think, has superseded them. And pun intended, because I think they might get a higher seed in the Big Sky tournament, especially now that they already have a win against Northern Colorado. But Northern Colorado's, they're solid, man. They're right there in the mix for the Big Sky. Montana's still kind of in the mix as well. So it's one of those small conferences where it's like, whatever. One of these teams is going to get in. And then I have Montana State on the 15 line. Nothing really interesting there. These teams are all going to go down in the first round unless there's some monumental upset that happens. Big South, High Point is almost definitely going to win that conference. They're far and above. They're like leagues above the rest of that conference. But that was the case 2 years ago, I think, and they actually lost in the conference, I think, or maybe they weren't as dominant then. Last year, they won the conference for the first time. This year, I think they're poised to do it again. I think they might have the same coach there again as well. So I got them getting in from that conference as well. 13 seed is where I have them, which is where they were last year as well. And they may get a chance to finally get a tournament win for their program, which they did not do last year. They lost to Purdue. On the Big West, I have UC San Diego, who arrived on the scene a few years ago. They'd moved up to Division I. They had to go through the transition period, and they were really good as soon as they came up. But they hadn't made the tournament until last year, and they finally broke through. They launched themselves above UC Irvine. UC San Diego, dude, when they got into the tournament last year, Ken Baum had them ranked like in the top 40 in his rankings last year, and they gave Michigan a fight for sure. And I think I actually had a play on UC San Diego in that game that fell just short because they wound up in a hole and they had to make a comeback, but they did make it really close. So I have them winning the Big West, but they're not as good this year as they were last year. And Hawaii looks like a legitimate threat in that conference. So right now I would say it's between those two teams, but UC Irvine is kind of still there, hanging around, maybe a couple other teams there. In the Colonial, I've got Hofstra winning it, although it seems like I always have Hofstra. I'm like, oh, they're the best team in the Colonial again early in the season, and then it's like, nah, now they're gone. Where did they go? Who knows? They just can't put a full season together, so we'll see. But I do have them there right now. UC San Diego, by the way, I have on the 13 line. They're decent enough. Hofstra, I have, where did I put them? I put Hofstra on the 13 line as well. Interesting. All right. But, yeah, Colonial, it might not be them. William and Mary is actually a threat to win that conference as the way that they've been playing right now. We'll see. I think it's going to be right now it's between those two teams probably. But William and Mary, it almost seems like it would be shocking if they got into the tournament. I don't even know if they've ever been in the tournament. If they have, it's been a long, long time. Conference USA, I have a little bit of a shocker with Middle Tennessee State getting in as a 14 seed instead of Liberty. I think it is close. I had to make the decision. I look at all these different analytics, these metrics. I'm like, which team am I going to put in right now? Very, very close between them and Liberty. Liberty, of course, it seems like Liberty gets in a lot of the time. Liberty's been in multiple different conferences recently, but I have Middle Tennessee on the way up, man, and we did see them look pretty competitive against Houston not that long ago, so hopefully I'm not letting recency bias affect me at all. So we have Middle Tennessee State. I also did put East Tennessee State, and I don't know, I'm going out of order here, but winning the Southern Conference. I have them in on the 14 line as well. The Southern Conference is usually an interesting conference, usually fairly competitive with a few good teams in there, but this year, the entire conference seems a bit down to me, so I don't know. I don't even know who might challenge East Tennessee State in that conference right now because it's like the usual suspects of like Furman and Samford. Well, Samford just became a usual suspect the last couple of years. Who else is in there? Mercer, I guess, and UNC Greensboro, and there's one other team, I forget, Wofford. Yeah, I think Wofford won it last year. Those teams all seem down, but it seems like that tournament tends to be chaotic, so who knows? Where did I leave off here? Horizon, I have Wright State getting in and landing on the 15 line. It's a bad conference. That conference, the tournament is chaos, and there aren't that many buys in that conference. So really, the conference is really up for grabs. It could be Wright State. It could be Oakland. It could be probably a number of other teams as well. I think those are probably the top two teams right now. But Wright State, I gave the nod for now. In the Ivy, I think it's really a one-horse race. I have Yale. I really don't see any other team winning the Ivy besides Yale. It just seems like at this point they kind of just reload, and they're just the best team in the Ivy. Again, I have them landing on the 12 line if they get in. And it's a little bit easier to win the Ivy because it's a small tournament where you only have to win 2 games, although some crazy things happen. There were some crazy games that happened in the Ivy. Sometimes there were some scares where the good team still gets through. In the MAAC, I have kind of a tournament newcomer, I think, or at least it's been a long time. I have Marist winning that conference right now and landing on the 14 line. This is an interesting conference this year. They're a little bit better, I think, this year than we've seen in recent years with Quinnipiac is definitely near the top of that conference as well. Right now, it's probably between those two teams, even though I talk about Siena. Siena's not that bad either. And that conference, a lot of times, we do see like a lower seed in their conference tournament get in, which, again, I do kind of hate these conference tournaments, even though they're really fun to watch. And I know a lot of it is about just, extra games. We get to make more money, whatever. But it does have the result of a conference might not send their best team to the conference tournament, though I guess at least the argument is they're sending a hot team to the tournament, but whatever. The MAC, not to be confused with the MAC, I've got Akron winning the MAC, even though I know they lost to Miami, Ohio. I don't know what is going on with Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio, dude, the wheels are going to fall off of that team unless we have the analytics very, very wrong. I just don't understand it. So I do still have Akron winning the MAC. I'm not even sure that Miami, Ohio is the second best team in the MAC. I really think that it's just ridiculous that Miami, Ohio is still undefeated. They're not this good unless we really just have them completely wrong analytically right now. But I do have Akron in, and I have them on the 11 line. I'm respecting Akron quite a bit. Man, their program's been good the last few years. It seems like they make the tournament out of the MAC most of the recent years, and I think they have some continuity there with some of those guys coming back again. So we'll see. In the MEAC, and we're getting into the absolute drags. I have Howard winning that conference, but who even knows? Who even knows, man? I have them as literally the worst team in the field, the last 16 seed in one of the play-ins. Not really a whole lot to say about that. Usually Norfolk State seems to win that conference. There are more often than most other teams. The Missouri Valley, that super competitive conference I've been talking about, I actually have Illinois State coming out on top of it right now and landing on the 12 line. Although there are so many teams that it could be, like Belmont. Ken Baum still has Belmont as the highest-ranked team in that conference. It's them. It's Illinois State. There are a few other teams in there that look fairly decent. Murray State is in the mix. Drake, I don't really think is going to be in there, man. Drake, I think they won yesterday and didn't cover, and they barely got the win. So it's a good thing I didn't give them out as a play, man.
Boy, I'm really starting to dislike the Drake.
Hate the Drake.
I had to do it, man, because I have that other drop there. I don't think it's going to be Drake this year, but we'll see. I think I might be forgetting another team in that conference, though. Northern Iowa. Yeah, Northern Iowa is definitely in the mix potentially as well. Mountain West, like I said, I do have Utah State winning it, even though Boise is competitive in that conference. Nevada possibly is in the mix. They look down this year, though. New Mexico should be in the mix, I guess, but they're like a little bit down as well. And that's really about it. I think Colorado State's a little bit of a step behind those teams right now. So the Mountain West is down this year. Northeast Conference, like about Long Island winning it. Long Island has actually been somewhat impressive. I still have them landing on a 16 line, but on the 16 line, I guess I'll say. But I do have them as, I think they're the significantly the best team in this Northeast Conference right now. It's a very weak conference, so we'll see. Ohio Valley is a very weak conference as well. But I have Lindenwood getting in, which would be fun, I guess, because they're pretty new to Division I, and I believe it would be their first conference win, their first tournament appearance ever. I wouldn't really hold my breath, though, because they're still going to have to compete with SEMO in there. Southeast Missouri State is good. Tennessee Martin. And by good, I mean good grading on the curve, the Ohio Valley curve, because it is not a good conference. It's a weak conference. I have Lindenwood in the play-in if they get in. Patriot is returning to Colgate, winning the Patriot again, as far as I'm concerned. I think they're actually going to win easily. The Patriot League is awful. Even though Colgate's not even really that good, they're still probably the best team there. I have them on a 16 seed. And then we got, I already talked about Southern. The Southland, McNeese is still the team to beat in the Southland, man. Will Wade left them in a good state. I've got them not only getting in, but actually, if they do, being on the 12 line. So they are good. They should probably win this conference again, although it's not as obvious as it was the last couple of years. We got the SWAC, which is the SWAC and the MEAC are like the two worst conferences in Division I, man. It's just the way that it is. I have Southern winning the SWAC. I don't even know. I think Grambling might be the next most competitive team in the SWAC. But who knows, man, once that tournament starts. Southern, I obviously have winding up in a play-in. The Summit League, I've got St. Thomas, the Tommies, man, which I want to see them in. It's about time. They're pretty new to Division I. They've gone through the transition period. I think they were the best team in the Summit last year, and they didn't make it. Omaha somehow got through that conference, even though they were not even good. I've got St. Thomas as a 15 seed. want to see them in. I want to see Tyler Hero's brother in the tournament just because it's funny. He's on their team. We'll see what happens, but I do believe that they're fairly significantly the best team in the Summit right now. I guess there's a little bit of other competition in there, but I think it should be St. Thomas. Although, again, crazy things happen in these conference tournaments. But that one, I think, I don't know. Out of these small conferences, I think the ones that are probably the most safe, although nobody's safe, are High Point, I would say, and McNeese probably is again. Yale, I guess. These other ones I think are all kind of up for grabs and not that obvious. And Colgate, I guess, is. But that conference is just so bad. And I think Long Island, I guess. All right. Sunbelt, I have Troy winning the Sunbelt again after they won it last year. Although the Sunbelt, I mean, there is a little bit of competition in there still. Although I actually kind of forget who else is even in there. It's a fairly weak conference, but there's a little bit of parity here. It looks like you got, Arkansas State is really the main competition to Troy here. And then I guess Marshall, not that far behind. Oh, I'm looking at offensive rating. What am I looking at here? Marshall, is still not really that far behind, though. So, yeah, correct. So it's probably between those three right now. Arkansas State would be fun. I think they still haven't made the tournament yet, and they kind of play this weird, fast style. If they still play that way, I don't know. They lost the conference final last year. They made a run 2 years ago in the conference tournament. I think they came from out of nowhere and made a crazy run as the 11 seed or something in the tournament. I think they made it to the final of the conference tournament. So maybe it's about time that Arkansas State gets in, man. That we get a team that plays more interesting basketball rather than the defensive stylings of Troy, which I think is what they still are here. Although I do like defense from a betting perspective. And then in the WAC, the WAC. There should be a WAC, but the WAC, it is WAC. The WAC only has 7 teams in it. Now, this WAC, it's not a good conference, and Seattle and Grand Canyon both left the conference, and they're pretty competitive teams, those two. I have Utah Valley winning, and I think Utah Valley probably wins this conference pretty easily. Cal Baptist is there in the mix, I guess, but Utah Valley, those teams leaving basically open up the door for Utah Valley to get in. The Utah Valley Wolverines. And, of course, if Michigan's going to be the number 1 seed, you need another Wolverines team in, right? I have Utah Valley on the 13 line here. And I had Troy on the 14 line, by the way. I didn't mention Troy, but, yeah. And St. Thomas on the 15. But, yeah, Utah Valley, even though the WAC is terrible, Utah Valley is actually fairly competitive. So that's where I have it. Something about this tournament just feels a little bit more boring to me. But that's it. I don't know. Is this bracketology stuff at all interesting? I have no idea, but I think maybe it'll be fun if we compare it with Lunardi here. I do have him up, but I haven't really looked at it. So he has the same as me with Michigan. Sorry, Michigan folks. He does have Michigan getting in he has Michigan as the number 1 overall seed. I mean, his other 1 seeds are the same as mine, actually. UConn, Iowa State, and Arizona. So he does have the same 1 seeds. His last teams in, the bubble teams, he's got NC State, LSU, Baylor, and Indiana all getting buys. I had the first 3 of those I had getting buys, and then I had Indiana in the play-in, so we're pretty close on that. He had Miami in the play-in, and I have them in, so that's pretty close. And he has Butler and Ohio State in the play-in, as do I. And he's got Oklahoma there, but I have Oklahoma State. So we're actually pretty close, man. So even though I don't think Oklahoma State really should be in, but whatever. So, and then the rest of his, first 4 out, Boise, Cal, New Mexico, and New Mexico's there in the mix. Then he's got Virginia Tech, Arizona State, Creighton, and VCU making an appearance somewhat close to an at-large. That's what he has. I do have my first 4 out as well. I'm actually kind of in line with him. My Boise, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, and California, my first 4 out. So he has Oklahoma in, I believe. And so I think out of the teams that we have in the tournament in some capacity, I think we only differ on 2. I think he has Oklahoma and I don't. No, I think that's the only one. I only differ with Lunardi by 1 out of the field of 68, I guess. I have Oklahoma State in. He has them out. I think that might be the only Yeah, that's the only difference. We swapped the Oklahomas. And I have Cal also in the first 4 out. And my next 4 out are Creighton, Wisconsin. Don't know what's going on with them. Having a really down year. Oh, yeah, I did put New Mexico in the mix there as one of the better Mountain West teams still. And then I have Arizona State there as well. So things are obviously going to change from now until then. We'll see what happens. I don't know if that was interesting or not. I thought I was going to do about 45 minutes on this. That's what I did. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I don't even want to check on my bets because I'm worried about it. I got to get some more walking and or running done here. I need some water as well. And I'll be back. I'm going to schedule Clint to get on the show here with Bald. Predict the NFL. It seems really, really hard to predict this NFL playoff field this year, man. It's just crazy. And I will do my bracket special for that as well at some point. But yes, this is just boring. Not boring to me. I'm obsessed with it. We're getting into March Madness time, man. It's the final months before it. So I'm probably going to do this again unless you guys really fucking hated it. But you get more of me, so why not? I don't think I'm going to put these ones on audio, though. It's more of a visual thing. It's not much of a point. This is just like a fun, I don't know, let's live stream it while I talk about my bracketology updates. That's going to do it. I'll be back in the morning. We'll talk about tomorrow's slate of games. Probably going to be a lot of college basketball. And actually, if there's too much, I might actually have to come back and do a college basketball show tonight. So I have to actually go look at that. Now I'm worried. I might have to come back and do a midnight betting show for college basketball. We'll see. But for now, peace, everybody. Subscribe to the show, and that will let you know when I'm back. Of course, Learn to Toad on Twitter and Instagram. Like, subscribe, reply on to the show here. We're on audio, except for these bracketology ones I don't think I'll put up there. Spotify, Apple, give me a review over there. Covered in Uke on YouTube. My Uke stuff. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You get bonus Uke stuff, or if you just want to support me. And then the Loser Cast. Check that out. We're going to have a new episode of that tomorrow as well. I think that's all I have for now. And on Wednesday night, I'm going to be on If by Whiskey, I believe is the name of the show. It should be fun. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Those dudes seem like they're pretty much down with the Tower Gang style of humor, let's just say. So that'll be interesting. That's Wednesday night. I don't know what time exactly, but you're going to get a lot of me over the next, well, you always do, but even more so. So that's what I have upcoming for now. Peace.